Hi, I'm Chris Nix, interviewing for Prometheus Unlimited, and I'm here with my good friend, Leonard Pigg.
Hi.
This is a great guy. He was not hesitant to shake my hand, even though he knows I just spit on it to fix my hair. But that's how awesome this guy is.
But it wasn't phlegm, it was just spittle, not, mucus.
Either way, that, is deserving of its own upstanding merit in some way.
All right.
Okay, so the reason that we really wanted to interview today is for the movie you recently played a part in. That is Static Shock Redemption, and you played the character of Slipstream.
Right.
So, how much fun was it getting to make this fan fiction?
Well, I mean, doing a fan film is fun anyway, because it's a way to kind of get yourself out there and show your love for the craft or for the medium. And with Static Shock being sort of adapted in a film, a lot of people don't realize that even though it was a cartoon on the WB for about 3 or 4 years, prior to that it was an actual comic from Milestone. It was created by Dwayne McDuffie and Robert L. Washington III, both of which actually have passed away. But I think they left a very cool legacy behind, in so much as you've got these characters. When you kind of adapt from the comic and from the cartoon, you've got a whole lot more to work with. And so what they've done is created a very interesting universe. It's set in the DC universe. There's some cameos, and I'm not going to say who's in it, but there's some other DC characters that make appearances.
Okay.
I'm playing Slipstream, one of the villains. He was actually in the cartoon. I don't think he was in the comics. So it's like I have a wind ability. I can, generate wind, sort of an elemental style, And it was fun because I got to be angry.
Yeah.
I got to be menacing, and I totally went away from my typical element. I normally try to be the spirit of nonchalance, but in playing this guy, he's very pissed off. He's very aggressive in certain scenes, and so it's like, I had to bring that physicality to the forefront, because normally I don't walk around all swollen, balled up, and angry. So to play that and embody that, I mean, after doing a few takes of, and just being this sort of villain, it's tiring. It's literally like you can feel it in your arms and stuff. It's just like, man, and just to create that
walking
tension.
around all swole up on everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be. I mean, that character, he's definitely a villain, and so I tried to bring that physicality across the best I could.
Yeah. And so, do we have a date on when we're going to be able to see the movie?
Well, you can whet your appetite if you go on YouTube and look up Static Shock Redemption, or if you just go onto the website itself, it's staticfanfilm.com. And they've got, right now, the release date is supposed to be late summer this year, 2012, so hopefully it'll be ready by then. I mean, I know they finished principal photography a few weeks ago, so I know they're getting down to editing, probably doing all the special effects up, and from the things I've seen so far, it looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing.
So there's a trailer?
Yeah, there's a teaser trailer on the site, and then there's like some behind the scenes showing some of the actors and the set, and talk with the director, Benjamin Dewhurst. Amazing director. Emmanuel Carter's playing Static, the lead. They co-wrote the script, and it's just going to be, it was fun. This was one of those kind of projects where it was about a love of the craft, an appreciation for, the characters, and just a way to really just get out there and have fun with it. And I think that'll come across for sure. The cast that I worked with, I mean, a lot of attractive people. I felt ugly on this set, man. I did. I was just like all these other dudes, they're like, how you doing? I'm just like, out of shape. I felt a little inadequate at times, but I mean, that's just, I think, my own little neuroses working against me. But I mean, we all just had a good respect for each other and for the medium, so.
Okay. Was there any, villain that you wanted to, look up to and emulate, someone that you liked from the comics, that was inspiring you to really bring out more in front of the camera?
If anything, I remember thinking of the idea of, sometimes, you get a lot of villains that don't say a lot, but they're very physical.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I look to sort of as somewhat of a guide. I mean, you have I almost want to say a, well, I'm trying to think of what villains that I really drew on, but more than anything, it was just sort of like, I always liked some of the villains like in Marvel, like Mr. Hyde was always very like, you know, very expressive and just kind of, you know, he always had that sort of growl about him.
Okay.
And he was very animated. Or the Joker, for instance, that's another thing. He kind of, I mean, the laughing stuff aside, he was always very sort of like throwing himself into like positions, and he had this sort of animated vibe about him. And so I guess I borrowed a little bit of that too.
Okay, cool. I know that you're also a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
I know the last show I went to was great.
Thank you.
Do you have something coming up?
I've actually been in talks with doing a show at the Fresh Juice Bar in Kokomo, Indiana. We haven't got a date set yet, but that's something definitely coming down the turnpike, and I'm looking forward to it. I haven't done comedy in a few months, but I've been coming up with a lot of material. That's the thing, it's like when you start doing comedy, the time that you're not doing whatever set that you have already, ideas will come to you, got to write them down, or I'm texting them to myself or whatever just to make sure I still have them. But I've got a pretty good amount of material to sort of draw up on, and just some of the interactions I've had with people, that in itself makes for a lot of material.
Okay, is there like a tweet or a Facebook or something that people can follow to try to get a chance to see you performing live?
We can go to facebook.com/Leonard Pigg, that's all one word. You can do that. I also have an internet radio show. I do that weekly on radiofreekokomo.org, and my show is on Saturdays at 4 p.m. It's called Pig's Pen. I play all kinds of different music. The stuff you're not going to hear on radio, that's what you're going to hear on my show. So that's that's the vibe I kind of go for.
It is a high quality broadcast. I've heard it many times.
So I'm just basically trying to give people something other than what you're going to hear on terrestrial radio. I'm going to talk about things that they don't normally talk about in some of the news. Like typical radio news, it's very straightforward, very kind of square. I try to get outside of that box, you know, and I try to just talk about different things. I mean, when all the crazy stuff happened with the cannibalisms and the bath salts, I was talking about that right as it happened, right after it had happened, you know, talking about it on the show. And I normally, when I'm doing the show live, I'll have folks popping in on Facebook, and they'll send me messages, or they're posting on the link and just kind of commenting. So it's very interactive, and it adds to the atmosphere and the ambiance, you know.
Okay, so what was your take on the whole face eating stuff? I know a lot of people were telling me, they're like, you know, oh, the cop went too far, he went too far.
Yeah.
You know, how can he just shoot this guy who's obviously on drugs? You know, I don't think he went far enough. If I was in that situation, I would have saw the guy with no face, and I'd have said, double tap, you know, second zombie down. You know, that's how you play the game.
Yeah.
So what did?
Well, I mean, in that instance, I mean, you know what? He probably didn't want to wear himself out doing a Rodney King and just wail. I mean, if the dude's already kind of foaming the mouth and crazy, it's like, oh, my arm's tired.
Yeah.
Oh, this arm's tired. Stomp, stomp, stomp. You know, I mean, it just.
Billy Club Taser maze.
He didn't want to have to deal with any of that. He was just like, done, pop, pop, over. I thought when I first heard about it, I just figured it was another serial killer. That was the first thought. I wasn't thinking of zombie apocalypse, like.
And then you find out he was naked.
Yeah, naked man. But naked people can be quite intimidating. I mean, right now we're on a college campus. If a naked dude came running down the street, people aren't going to stand there and talk to him. They're going to get out of his way. That's just how it is. People kind of have an aversion to nudity unless you're in like a, you know, some kind of a strip club or brothel, I guess. I don't know, but it was just a weird scenario. I mean, all the way around, and
it's part of our social programming.
Yeah,
at least here in the States. So
yeah, in Europe, naked guy run down the street, they're like, oh, he's just getting some exercise, because you know sometimes you get the friction on the jogging suits. See, that guy's not naked, but close.
Too close.
Yeah, it's. We're running a thong and a t-shirt, so. Damn, I thought I was in San Francisco for a minute.
Just Bloomington.
Yeah, close enough. Definitely fun place, though. Yeah.
Okay, anything else you want to get out there?
I definitely want to say this project was fun to work on. I'm a fan of Dwayne McDuffie's writing, you know, and I was really bummed out when he passed away last year. I was fortunate enough to have actually emailed him a few times, and he actually emailed me back. He was very approachable in that respect. I just regret I didn't have a chance to meet him, maybe get his autograph, you know, talk to him in person, shake his hand. because I mean, he really inspired me. There aren't a lot of black comic book writers in the industry, and you know, I'm a writer, and it inspires me to you know, try to put my mark, so maybe I can get some gigs doing comics. I'd love to do that. I mean, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I do music. I mean, I've got that project with Aaron, Suicide Boys. We do like sort of, I want to call it a hip hop, but it's a little more experimental.
Yeah.
And so I'm always just kind of working on different things. I've got my irons in a lot of fires. And so, you know, on this end, I'm just doing the acting thing, the comedy thing, the music thing. I do writing occasionally. I want to go back to it a bit more. I mean, that's something like ideally I'd like to do, because when you're a writer and you sit down and start creating a story, I mean, you're creating a reality that somebody's going to act out for you. You know, I mean, to get to see that done in a real world setting, it's outside of your head. It's just an amazing, amazing thing.
Okay, if you had to just take like one moment during your filming of the Static Shock, you know, what was like the coolest, just like spot where you just like, you know that was like, whoa, you know, I saw the pictures, you know, of all the prop guns and the, you know, like special forces teams and stuff.
Yeah.
So was there like a certain time that you're just like, whoa?
Well, there were a couple moments for me. One was when the SWAT team was lining up, and you see the group of these guys in the full SWAT regalia. They got their guns, and they're standing in the line, and it's like you see them outside this factory. It's just like, you almost kind of forget for a second that, oh, we're just filming. You're like, man, something heavy's about to go down, you know? I mean, it's like put your hands up now, you know? But
hope you had all your permits.
Right, I know. It was just it's like that knee-jerk reaction you get when you see something immediately, like, oh man, you know, it was almost, it looked too good, you know, it looked very realistic. I mean, the costuming is amazing. Scotty Bristol did that. That guy is out of sight with it. And the costume for Static, you're going to see a couple different costumes with the character during the film. And
so kind of upgrades like Spider-Man.
Yeah, something like that. And the final costume you do end up seeing just looks outstanding. And that was another moment for me when I see, you know, Emmanuel come out. He's got the outfit on. I'm just like,
there's your superhero.
Right, because it's like when you're a kid, you know, when you see Santa Claus, or you go to the mall or somewhere and they got like a Spider-Man walking around, or any kind of superhero, or some Easter Bunny, larger than life sort of character, and to see it right there in front of you, it's always sort of a, well, I mean, until you get, when you're younger, it's a breathtaking moment. But I definitely had that, because you don't really have a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of black characters in comics, but there aren't a lot of like books that are out there right now. I mean, some of them are just supporting cast or whatever. But Static was part of that milestone line that came out back in the early 90s, and that broke a lot of ground, because all of a sudden you had an imprint of comics that came out that were pretty diverse. I mean, you had, you know, African-American characters, you had some Latino characters, you had, I think there was a transgender character, you had a little bit of everything. And that's the kind of diversity, that's the world we live in right now. I mean, it takes all types, and so I think going into this project, if you know, when you get a chance to see it, by all means, please do. I don't think it'll be disappointing, because it was just fun, and that definitely carries through on screen too.
And is it going to be a full-length feature?
I think it's actually just going to be set up sort of like a webisode, like a short.
Okay.
But even so, it's definitely action-packed. There's a lot going on in it, and it's going to be fun.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming out.
No problem.
It's been a great interview.
Likewise.
Glad to see you again.
You too.
And we'll have to do a follow-up interview after the release.
That'll be fun.
All right.
Lost my soul, yeah, I sold it to that